Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com, as well as on Amazon. And the books are also in audio as well. I have a return guest. I'm happy to have my good friend Marineka Bowman on from Delaware. She has been on my podcast, season 3, episodes 104, 131, 159, 160, 174, and 184. Season 4, episodes 22, 48, 61. Also, season 5, episodes 149, 210, 238, 248, 256, 258, and 263. Hello, DOGE. Hello, Pam Bondi. Better listen up. Welcome, Marineka Bowman. We're going to do an update on your court order that is not being followed since April 25th of 2025. Tell me more.
Yes, Maryann. First, I want to really applaud you for your strength for doing this program, bringing awareness to what's going on in the courts, turning your pain into helping others. And I hope your children recognize this, that you're turning your pain into a powerhouse to help others, to bring awareness to what's going on in the court. Because, what is going on in the court needs to be addressed. Because for the last, less than a month, so many children have lost their life when they could have been alive today. If those court orders has been followed, and people, the parents, either whether it's mother or father, has been held accountable to what those orders stated.
I agree. Very, very sad news.
And, I have to bring up the Decker case because I thought of you right away. Because I know sometimes you said, probably you feel helpless of what you're doing. No, it's good what you're doing with this program. And I pray that God bless you tremendously for bringing awareness to what's going on in the courts across the states across every state in this country, because it's the same situation going on from state to state to state. Mm-hmm. Some worse, some are better than some are worse. And I was following Texas family court on TikTok. They had put a lot of laws in place for the last, I'm not sure if you was following them on TikTok, but a lot of laws they just reformed recently in less than a month or two. They've been making a lot of changes within the family court. And I think, I pray that other states follow suit with some of those changes that were made, because it's necessary. It's necessary. It's very necessary. And some of the decisions that made by these counselors and psychologists and the guardum and lidum, that they're taking people's lives, taking things for granted, that they're just doing a job. And then when these kids lose their life by the hands of either mother or father, everybody pointing finger, oh, they should have do that. Oh, this person didn't help me. That agency didn't help me. Oh, what happened with the court order? The court order wasn't followed. This nonsense has to stop.
Oh, I definitely agree. And in regards to the Decker case, the judge on that case really should be shown his handiwork and look at those 3 little girls.
My goodness.
Because now he has blood on his hands.
I can't imagine how that mother is feeling. I cannot begin to imagine. Not 1 child, not 2 child, 3 children. 3 children. A mother fear, worst fear.
Oh, yes.
Message. I live through that. So I know that. I walk in that shoes. So I know how it feels. Oh my God, is my daughter going to be alive today? Is she going to be dead? Like, these are, this is a worst nightmare for any parent. Any parent. It doesn't matter if your mother or father that have good mothers, that have good fathers.
Right. I would fear when mine would go over, I feared that one of them would unalive themselves. I don't want to say how, but
I had that fear. Actually, I had a situation in 2018. My daughter's father was to return her at 4:00. I went to the precinct because our exchange was done at the precinct. And I remember clearly because I was going through my notes, and the officer that I spoke with was McCall Officer McCall from Newcastle County. I have all his information, the time that I spoke with him and everything, the date, everything written down. I said my daughter was supposed to be returned at 4:00, and the father not answering his phone, he's not here, and all of that. He pretend like if he's calling or whatever, what he was doing with his phone, and he was like, oh, he's not answering his phone. I can't make him answer his phone. 2 hours after, I was losing my mind. I leave the precinct, I come back. I was like 7:00. I went back to the precinct, like he was at the front desk. I was like, my daughter's still not here. I was losing my mind that day, right? You tell me, oh, it's a custody exchange. All I have to do is go to the family court on Monday. He can't make the father answer his phone. Okay, but it's a custody exchange. She should have been returned at 4:00.
Right, because what a lot of people have to understand with custodial interference, when they have to return this child and they don't do it, this is essentially a felony kidnapping. So these police officers have got to be trained while they're in the police academy on what custodial interference is. And when a parent shows a court order and says, Johnny hasn't shown up here and we're supposed to meet at the precinct, go get Johnny, here's the court order. They can make copies of the court order, go right to that parent's house, pick up Johnny, and bring Johnny back to you. That's what should be happening, but they don't know.
I was in a police academy, and if I could remember vividly, what it tell us about those court orders. Once they have a court order, and I think they have the Indian order, and next order they have the Indian order, something like that. I don't remember that clearly. It was of the land. That once you have that order, you have to intercede. At least that's what I was told. I don't know what other police academies do, but in my police academy, they tell you once the person gives you the court order, you go to the house, but you don't make no decision. Oh well, you have to do this and you have to do that, but you intercede, make sure if the exchange have to be done or whatever, that much you see that it get done. But anything else beyond that, they have to go to the court. At least that's what I was taught.
Right.
In the police academy, in my police academy.
See, and it might be real vague that it's like nursing school. Nursing school teaches you like the basic, some laws, how to put in an IV and a Foley catheter. But then they throw you out there and you're learning by other seasoned nurses and doctors. And like going back to these law enforcement officers, they're really not trained on how to handle this. So they just call the DA on call who says, oh, it's a family court case. Have them go back to their attorney and address it in family court. It's not a civil matter, people.
It's true, because I had a next incident with the state police, because I was supposed to pick her up from the daycare, and he decided that he's not going to send her to daycare. Actually, let me back up. His attorney, Laura Brooks, emailed the attorney that I had at the time and stated, tell your client that today she's not going to get her daughter. There's an investigation, a DFS investigation or something like that, of that nature. So the attorney emailed me and asked me if I am aware of that. And I was like, no, I know today that I'm going to pick my daughter up. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Why is an attorney calling on behalf of DFS? DFS have not contacted me if that was the case. But like I said, with all the podcasts that we did in the past, that Laura Brooks was interfering in areas that she had no business interfering with.
Correct. And I'll tell you, my opposing attorney never called me up. I wish he did, but he never did.
So I went to the daycare and she was not there. And I called the state police. I said, today's the day for me to pick up my daughter. He was a corporal. I have his name written down at the time that I spoke to him something, but I don't have his information right now to tell you. But what he told me, that is the same thing as a family court issue. You can't get involved. The state police don't get involved in stuff like that. So there's no concern. Yeah. Right? They don't get involved with that. You have to go back to the court. And there's a lot of times if they do act, a lot of kids that lost their life would have been safe, like the Decker sisters. And I pray that their lives do not go in vain for nothing, that changes come not only in Washington state, but like I said, throughout the state of this country in family court. These judges need to be serious about what they're doing, because like in my case, Judge Natalie Haskins, right I'm just going to exaggerate, probably over 100 court orders that she keeps slapping my ex-husband on his wrist that he don't have to follow. And then you want to turn around and blame me that I am fault. And that even in the court order, she wrote that I'm always blaming the father. No, I'm not going to blame the father today. I'm going to blame you because you created that monster in court to assist him to use the system to abuse me.
I agree. I agree.
Right? And I am going to give my example. Now I have my papers, but I'm going to read a Delaware family. My glasses is bothering me today. I'm just going to have to take this off. I need a mixed glasses. But in the Delaware Family Code for custody 727 said whether a parent have joint or legal custody, or one parent has sole custody of a child, each parent has the right to receive on request from the other parent, whenever participle in advance, all materials, information concerning child's progress, school, medical treatments, significant development in child's life, school, activities, conference, religion, etc., etc. So it doesn't matter if you have sole custody or legal joint custody, both parents should be informed. But in my case, they don't feel like my child, like I need to be informed. This is the what they call the family court affidavits for children rights. One of the rights for children that the child must maintain the relationship between both parents. The child have the right to experience regular and consistent contact with both parents.
Mm-hmm.
The child have the right to have a relaxed and secure relationship with both parents. But when you have a judge who constantly separating you from your child and think that she's not following the law and you have the children right. And that's one of the things that she quoted in this last court order from April 25th, that they did that for what they quoted as the best interest of my child. So where's the phone calls? I have no phone calls with my daughter. Absolutely none. When I talk about the phone calls and I bring up this same, this law, she said I have to motion the court for it to have the privilege to have phone calls with my daughter. When I motioned the court to have phone calls, she denied every single thing that I have applied for. It would Natalie Haskins didn't cover, but she probably didn't show it, where she tried to get me to decline, don't worry with it, or ignore. This is my Wizard app that she ordered for us to follow. My Wizard app have an application that parents could have phone calls with their with their children. So I am paying $100 and something a year for this. Why can I use the system, the same thing that you order for me to use to communicate with the father, to have phone calls with my daughter? It's in the law. And it's stated as the children's right? Mm-hmm. As a judge, that is a right to be secure with both parents, right? And have consistent contact. Where's the consistent contact with my daughter? 1 hour every Sunday at a visitation center since 2023. And then you want to write that it's my fault that I delay the reunification process. Now you have a court order that she just but before I go into the court order, the counselor that my daughter had, that her father chose from Turning Corners, the second counselor, Sarah Whittington, she stated to the court, from what is reported back to me, that I didn't know how to bond with my child, that I don't have no connection, and that I needed to, she needed to do one-on-one counseling with me, and then collaborative sessions with me and my daughter, so we can connect and have a relation. I don't even know how she came about with that conclusion, because this woman never met me before prior to us having any sessions or even meeting each other. She didn't even know my story. She didn't even know what's going on. And I'm glad I didn't tell her my story because she put it in a negative way, like I was blaming the father, that I always talking negative about the father. I don't know what she expect me to talk about my experience. What happened, happened.
Hmm.
Don't tell me how to feel about what happened to me. I almost lost my life. And there's so many things that I would mention, try to mention as I go along in this podcast that took place. And then she want me to say what happened in the past with me, because I refuse to talk about some of the things that happened in the past because I know she was using it for the wrong reason, not for counseling purpose and having me vent or to talk about it. She using it as a way of means of me to say that I'm blaming the father and I'm pointing finger at the father. He was at fault. He alone at fault, and all of this stuff. If he was at fault, he was at fault. That's it.
Right.
Simple.
And they're weaponizing it.
And yes, and you're using that from one counselor to the next.
Hmm.
So since February, she was obligated to write a report to the court, like I mentioned in the past podcast, in February, so that I would able to so the reunification with me and my daughter could move forward. Before that process completed, she quit. How many times she
That's
called
right.
out sick? She called out numerous times. She canceled numerous sessions, right?
Right.
And I don't even know if she write the report to the court. But anyhow, they concluded and the court ordered that for April, that was written in April 25th of this year. She stated that I have to continue counseling. How could you just leave me hanging? Not only that you leave me hanging, leave my child hanging. Why you'd feel that is not important from 2023 to now, that there's no reunification process being done for me to connect with my daughter. What you guys have done? All you keep saying from 2023 to now, oh, my daughter is scared of me. She's scared of me. She don't want to connect with me. She don't want to connect with me. Actually, I was just reading this, the weirdest thing in this court order. The judge stated that um, my daughter is now 7 and she have an independent mind. I want to write exactly. She have an independent mind, thought, and she can and that is not easily controlled, and she could make her own decisions.
Interesting.
She could make her own decisions. So she could say that she don't want to come with her mom or all of that stuff, and all the other stuff that they write that I don't know how to communicate and all of that stuff. Yeah, all the other foolish, fabricated stuff that they write in here is just nonsense. But like I'm just saying with this counseling, so the counselor, she disappeared in the second week of the second week when we did the podcast of February, and this court order stating that the co-parenting the counseling with the collaborative counseling with between my daughter and I and her should continue. From since April, we're about to go into July. None of that happened. She disappeared out my daughter's life, and I'm going to show example. This is not the first time. But yet still you want to hold my foot to the fire that I am not following what I need to do. And Judge Natalie Haskins is a part of this too, like a part of this breakdown. And his attorney, like I said, is part of this breakdown. Uh,
They're responsible for so much child psychological
yes,
abuse.
and they
I
don't
think I
understand.
think
Yes,
this
yes.
place Turning Points is actually turning my stomach.
So she's not with Turning Point at anymore. That as according to the dad. One time she was there, then she's not there. Then now she was there. Then now she's not there. She's with a different agency from what the father is telling me. And the financial aspect for her to continue with the counseling with my daughter is she can't figure it out or something like that. If I don't even understand that foolishness because I just got a new dentist. All I give the people is my insurance card, and I was able to, they run it. It's either they take it or they don't take it. And if my daughter is following you to a different agency, obviously that agency takes her insurance. So what is the issue? What is the issue?
You, going back to your bond, you were saying they're destroying the bond between you and your child.
Exactly.
Dr.
Exactly.
Mark Roseman wrote the book Preserving Family Ties, And I use part of excerpts of it in my first book, and he knows that. But this is what I think these courts want to do. They want to create family discord. They want to break up these bonds
Yeah.
between these parents so they can drag these cases out,
Yeah.
make more money.
Yeah. Since 2019, my case was keep going on and on from since 2019. And the same complaints, the same thing over and over and over, but you want to keep blaming me. And the funny thing is, too, a next thing that I mentioned from in February when we start, I think it's either January or February, my daughter is constantly going to the hospital back and back and back and back and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. When I was taking her to the hospital for legit stuff that was going on with her, you said this attorney said I was psychologically abusing the hospital. Actually, the nurse, the RN at the hospital, told the father to file a case that I'm psychologically abusing Nia Morris. Now she has been going to Nia Morris back and forth for urology issues and all of this stuff from since January or February up until today. But he's not psychologically abusing the hospital. Nobody's asking why is she coming to the hospital so often. Like for last month, from February 25th, my visit was canceled. She's sick. May 18th, she was sick. May 25th, she was sick.
And then,
right?
Right. And then if you call, I think it's DFS in your place, right?
Yes. They can say that. Yes.
If you were to call for a well check, then they're going to weaponize that and use that against you in court.
And that's what happened a lot in my situation, because it came to a point that I was so afraid that I didn't even want to go to the hospital. I didn't even want to call DFS, because that's exactly what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to me. Mm-hmm. One time my daughter came back from visiting him. She went to sat on the toilet to use it, and she flew off so fast. She was like scared even to go near to the toilet, which was something that was fun, because I had this little fun seat and we had charts. Like when you do number 1 or 2, you put your stars, and then at the end you get your crown. And so I made it bathroom time fun. So when she did that, I knew something was up. She didn't want, so I had to sit next to her. My mom sit on one side, I sit on the other side. And I started washing her up and stuff like that. And I noticed her private area looked very red, discolored. And I don't even know why my hands, like I wash and wash. I don't know why I end up smelling my hands, for what reason. And I got this smell, this odor from her. And she was just like 2.5 to 3 or something like that. Is just like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I had this sinking feeling in my stomach. I didn't even know, like I just went black in the mirror. I just went black. It's a feeling that no mother want to feel.
I've heard this from other parents that
no mother want to feel that. That is a sinking feeling, but there was nobody for me to talk to. Everything that I talk, everything I report, end up being the one that being investigated. I am the one being investigated. This man even went so far to put his son to say that I was molesting his son.
But you weren't even around his son.
No, his son used to be with, like he had joint custody, like 1 week on, 1 week off, like with us. And they put that child, I think he was 11 or 12 at the time, to say that I molested him. Yes. But I thought as I watched this was the investigation from DFS. This is a report, right? Mm-hmm. They made a police report, and I guess, I don't know how it ended up to DFS, but DFS. So I was on the investigation for that, right? And I thought about it, but I forgive him. I do forgive him. He's probably 19 now. Mm-hmm. I forgive him because I know at the time he was put up to do it.
Yeah, he was probably scared into doing it.
Let me tell you, but I could say I forgive him. I forgive him. I really do. I know he listened to this podcast. I know they all listen. And I truly do mean it from my heart. I was very upset at the beginning because I take good care of his son. Mm-hmm. the way how they send my daughter to the center, sometimes her teeth not brushed. I make sure his son hair is cut. I make sure he had the best of clothes. I even find programs to help him. We went out a lot. I did a lot of stuff. I help take care. But you know, when you're dealing with people, kids, you have to be very mindful.
Mm-hmm.
Very mindful. So this counselor, coming back to this counselor before I lost him, there's a picture that my daughter drew. And here is me, her dad, that said her dad, me, and her brother, and her. This is her. Mm-hmm. So I said, that's not my son. She said, Mommy, could you please be his mom? I said, but he have his own mom. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to take that from her. She said, please, Mommy. I said, okay. She said, well, this is my family. So this is a child you keep saying that is so scared of me. So, and the stepmother who is telling her to say that you're the best mom. There's no way stepmom is here. There's no way the stepbrother is here and all of her brothers here. Right? Mm-hmm. This is a book that she just made recently for Mother's Day for me.
Aw.
Right? You see her writing, Maryann? She going in second grade. Look at her writing, right? And Judge Natalie Haskins, because I spoke about her education and all of that stuff, you blocked me. But she don't know how to read and write. And I'm gonna come back to that. So she said, this is the crown, Mom. You know how to make people happy, you know how to make me happy, you make people happy, and all of that. You know how to do things to make people happy, right? Mm-hmm. This is the picture that she drew. She said, this is how her father make her feel.
Yeah, hello, Judge Natalie Haskins. Better have a look at that one.
Right? She had, right. So this is how her dad make her feel. These are the pictures. Very dark pictures. Very dark drawings. This is what she draw, right? This is how her father make her feel.
Oh, yeah. Wake up, Judge Natalie Haskins.
And say we're waiting time. And say we're waiting time. With the counseling that I keep saying. So this is an email. When we first started counseling, Laura, the attorney that I had, and you know, when I think about this whole case, a lot of the attorneys that I had in the past that I waste my money to, they, with all this information that I have, they could have helped me win my daughter, win this case, get rid of him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was never around even to begin with.
In the beginning, yes, in the beginning, for a whole 2 years or whatever, he was not in our life, and I have all, like, even this one, Judge Natalie Haskins said you don't deal with abandonment. I had all type of calendars. Like you had 2 months of no calls, no shows, no visit. I have a whole bunch of these things, and I record a document every time he visit. Every time he visit, I document. When he don't visit, and he have more no calls and no shows. But she said that's nothing. But I have an email here. The attorney that I had with the co-parenting counselor at the time, Laura Brooks recommended that we do co-parenting counseling. And she wanted to choose a specific counselor. And that's another thing I want to point out, what I noticed in my case in Delaware. They feel comfortable just using one agency. They don't give people, like some of the attorneys, they'll just want to keep using the same person or same agency. They don't want to give the person the opportunity. Yes, they want to use the same agency, and their own counselors and stuff like that. They're not giving parents the opportunity to choose whoever they feel comfortable or wherever they want to go. They're not writing it on paper. Well, oh, you don't want to go to that person, or you have to go to this person, or it's court order that you have to go to this agency. But that's who they prefer. Because even with one of the psychological evaluation that I had in the psychologist right in Delaware here did it, in Melford, Delaware. She's one of the top psychologists. Judge Natalie Haskins said, oh, I don't trust her. I don't trust her. It's not your field. You as a judge stay in the seat of a judge. She's a psychologist. She did her job because she didn't write that I was crazy like you wanted her.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You said you don't trust her.
Haskins wants to follow the false narrative because she knows
she already set her mind on
right, because you're the one
yes.
paying the child support for
yes.
Title 4D,
yes.
which also pays into the judge's pensions.
Yes.
So that's what she wants.
Mm-hmm. Because even in the custody case, he keep talking about child support in the custody case because he's all about money.
Same here.
And I'm going to say that, like I mentioned before, my ex-husband is connected to people that go to Judge Natalie Haskins church. They have this woman who's a House representative for Delaware, Shari Dursey, that is very good, close family friends with my ex-husband, Anthony Howard, that goes to the same church with Natalie Haskins in Newcastle, Canaan Baptist Church.
Oh, a bunch of hypocrites. There it is.
Right? So
Hypocrites.
he's well connected with people that helped him along with this case. But if anything should happen to my daughter, since she's been going to the hospital so often, and all the abuse and all of that stuff, everything was swept under the rug. Everything was swept under the rug. At no point in time that she ever listened any court order that I was an unfit mother. I was a mother on drugs or a mother on alcohol. Because when you hear your children, people hear your children take away, oh, she probably was on drugs. Oh, she probably was on alcohol. Oh, something. None of that was never stated. They tried to get my doctor at one point to do drug tests. She was like, why am I doing that? You don't have a background of drugs. I never used drugs in my life. When I go to interviews and I tell people I never use drugs, they watch me like, what? Everybody use? No, I'm not everybody. I never use drugs.
Same.
Never. So you want then some point, oh, the mother look like she's on drugs. Let's do drug tests. Why? What is the grounds for you asking for drug tests? Right? And that's the problem my doctor had. I had a doctor. I call her the gangster doctor. I love her. Like when Laura Brooks even wanted me to write my medication, like I'm taking medication, she said, no, you're going to follow the orders of Christiana Hospital. You're going to follow it. I'm not going to write anything and give it to you. You're going to request it to the main office, wherever you have to request it, there's where you're going to go. The same thing that was trying to do it to me. She said, oh, I don't want the records from Christiana Hospital. Why would you say that? Is it because you remember that doctor, one? Or two, you had someone of your friends that work in Christiana Hospital records, show you my records. Oh, I don't need that. I need the records from New York. Well, it's the same procedure. So with the counseling, which is a big problem that they keep stating that I don't want to do counseling. This is an email. The attorney that I had at the time told her not to choose the counselor she wanted. She wanted to choose the counselor for us, Morris Blaine from, I think it was Woodmill Christiana Counseling. That's who, oh, well, all what he said to me, all the lawyers in Delaware use me with all the different counselors and psychiatrists and a different agency to just use you because you lie for them. I'm not gonna say fabricate. You lie for them because you went to court and lied. Even in our co-parenting sessions was during the COVID time. My ex-husband said to me, you know, I work around a lot of people now. The office shut down and he didn't want to get our daughter sick and stuff like that. I think he was gorgeous enough to tell me that. So he asked me if I don't mind her staying in one place. I said, cool. I didn't have a problem with it. And I really didn't have a problem with it. It's not something that I was going to use against him in court anyway. This is something that we decided to do together. It was in writing. So it's not nothing that we just verbally say. We had it in writing. During the counseling, he was like, no, you shouldn't do that because next thing you know, she's going to go to court and say you don't have time with your daughter. And I was like, why would I say that if it's something that we both agree on and it's in writing? And as we going along with the counseling, and I was talking, you know, he asked me about events. He asked both of us like things that happen when I'm keep talking about stuff. And something he said, and I think I objected, and he was like, I said, I'm not going to continue with this counseling if he's not going to be honest, because part of this for us to get past where we at, you have to be honest. All this blaming and finger pointing and all that. He said, you know what the counselor tell me? I don't give a F how you feel. I did report him to the Delaware license. I never report right? I didn't give a F. So now he went to the court and testified that I was refusing counseling.
And how they spin it.
And spin it. Yes, they spin it like that. And that followed for a long time. So now when I asked for a new counseling agency, I'm going to move around a little bit. When I asked for a different agency, Judge Natalie Haskins ordered that I will pay the difference because the Christiana counseling was paying $20. $20 co-payment. Mm-hmm. This is her order where she did right or signature that I am going to pay the increase. And how that increase came about, so she told me to get 3 different agencies and let Dad choose one. I did call this agency, well, this was during the COVID. I did call an agency named Strive Works, THRIVE Works, WORKS, counseling. They said they weren't doing any counseling at the time. Anyway, the father ended up calling them. My ex-husband ended up calling them, so that he said, and suddenly now they were available to counsel. When I called them, they said they were not doing any co-parenting counseling because of the COVID and all of that stuff. He called them immediately and they said, yeah, $100, and I have the email here, $100 per hour per session. They wanted. Suddenly they didn't tell me that. So she came, Judge Natalie Haskins. So she co-signed to the abuse. So she wrote a court order stating that I will have to pay $80 and he have to pay $20.
Oh, but what these judges, this is even psychological abuse on the parent as well as financial abuse on the parent. You're already paying child support. If he's going to, pay, he should be paying that, not you.
So another thing that I want to show with her thing, right, with the co-parenting, she stated, if I don't cooperate with the co-parenting, and she write this on her order, which she should have never done until we went to court back on the date we were scheduled to go to court. So she gave him a date that he have to find a provider for the counseling, which is February 11, 2021. This was in 2021. That's one order. On the same order, on the next order, she wrote around the same time. She said, if mother do not comply with the counseling, she will modify my order and give the father sole custody. So based on this, so guess what he did? She gave him an order. Remember, this is a court order, and a date on it. Look, this is her court order. This is how she writes her court order.
That's crazy. Okay, that in itself, that judge needs a psychological evaluation and drug testing.
It's not even professional. She just traveled on the car and look at this. All of them, all of her court orders. Look at them. Very tacky, unprofessional.
Correct.
Right? She types some, writes some, right? But if I do that to the court, that would be something.
Oh, so she probably doesn't have a good second, what am I trying to say?
Second 3.
Yeah, education, second grade education either. God, and this is a judge.
Right? So this is how. So she wrote on this, if I don't do the counseling, she would give my ex. She already premeditated to give my ex-husband sole custody. So this order was written in April, sometime in April, 13th day of, July 2021. So she said immediately on this order that she scribbled, this writing that is scribbled there, he was supposed to find the counseling immediately. He waited, and we were supposed to be going back to court, I think, in December of this same year. So he waited until wrong October, to find a counselor, and that's how he came across Dr. Zingara, which they wanted me to go to in the first place to do the psychological evaluation. I never chose Dr. Zingara for the psychological evaluation because they stated that's where he was going. So why should I go to the same person that he was going to?
Conflict of interest.
Right? But it was never written in the court order that I had to go to Dr. Zingara to do the psychological evaluation. So I went to someone else.
Right.
And she dismissed. She said that she don't trust anybody else but Dr. Zingara and all of that stuff.
Oh, okay. So I'm glad you said that because these judges have a pattern of assigning parents to go to who they want to see.
Exactly.
They're doing their friends favors.
Yes. You got it. But one thing I'm going to say about Dr. Zingara, even though I was skeptical with him, so at one of our court orders, I'm going to come across it. Let me just move down because I may get in a headache. I don't want to stay too long. So one of our court orders stating that both parents have to do psychological evaluation. So he did ask me, how I feel about coming to him. I said I was a little skeptical because of, why both of us have to see you to do the psychological evaluation, and they sent me because I already didn't trust them, and I had all reason not to. right?
Mhm.
So I said, because he's supposed to be doing a psychological evaluation here with you, and he said no, he didn't. No, he didn't do it with me. The only other Zingara is my son, and my son just came into practice, so there's no way that my son could have done that mental health evaluation either. So I'm not sure if my ex-husband ever did a mental health evaluation. So this was court ordered for both parents. This is the court order. And Maryann Natalie Haskins statute. This is the court order that both parents, but I never see now. Not only that, they made me do one mental health evaluation, they did two. So she didn't trust the first psychologist because that's not who she wanted me to go to. I was in New York when I did the second one. Oh, she said that the second one from New York looks like a intake form. That's what the lawyer said. That's what Laura Brooks even write on her thing. Yeah, it looked like an intake form. She don't trust her either.
Well,
Then now you try to get a DFS supervisor, committed Jones Giddens, that was supposed to be investigating the marks on my daughter's skin that she never investigated, but that took 9 months to just say that we don't co-parent because she was trying to get her to do the mental health evaluation on me. Likewise, she was trying to get Sarah Whittington to do the same thing.
but CPS can't do an eval on you,
All right. I tell
right?
her the next time you ask me about that, I'm going to get an attorney. I'm not talking to you without an attorney, and that's it. She took 9 months to close that case. Actually, I just even had a case with them because she's a supervisor for that same office that is having an investigation open on me from since February. I never, from February to now, never received a letter that that case was closed.
But wait a minute, the judge expected you to go to DCFS or DFS for your psych eval?
Yes.
Okay, they can't do that. They don't even, I don't think they have
Samina Jones
license.
didn't. I have emails. And she was like, "Oh, I have my master, my PhD, and something, whatever her degree was." And she wanted me to write a release, sign a release form so she can get the mental health evaluation, copy of the mental health evaluation from the psychologist that did my mental health evaluation. I said that stuff was already sent to the court, directly to the court. So all of this foolishness that they did in my case, and still you finding every reason, and I'm going to come back to the court order. I just want to go to every
Right,
reason not to give me my daughter.
right. Oh, definitely, definitely. They want to break that bond and cause more child psychological abuse and destroy that childhood. That judge doesn't care about your kid or my kid. I don't even.
Nobody kid. Because even when I talk that my daughter is going into second grade and she didn't know how to read. Like this weekend, I went to visit her, and I saw somebody was advertising a book Beyond the Sky is the Limit, like teaching children to trust their gut and stuff like that. And when I was reading, the paragraph was a little lengthy. So, but she wanted to start reading the first pages. She was attempting to. So she got a little upset with me because she was pronouncing TOO as two and TO as the same thing. And I was like, no. So she got a little upset because now she's feeling bad that she don't know how to spell, and she started breaking down a little bit. I feel so bad. Like tears come to my I was like, oh my God. Because this is some of the things that they stopped my visit for when she started crying because she didn't want to tell that she's wrong, that I'm, like I'm personing her and not writing what is true.
Well, okay, this is what they're doing. They're also, these courts are creating future personality disorders. So when you go to correct your daughter, the child gets upset, and then that's used against you in court.
Yes.
For
And yes,
instance, I have a good
yes.
story for you, Marineka. Okay, so my son was learning trumpet. He's trying to play on top of Old Smoky, and he can't hit the high note. And for instance, my mother says, "Oh, that sounds wonderful, honey." And it's like, no, that's not how it has to be played. So I took the trumpet and I showed him you've got to push up the air from your diaphragm and into that area of the trumpet. And this is how it is done. And I showed him, and then he learned, but thankfully that wasn't used in court against me. God forbid.
Yes, there's like some of the situation with something I was telling my daughter, and she started crying, and she got upset because I corrected her, not in a harsh way. So even that, they're right that I had her crying relentlessly and all of that stuff, right? So another thing with the court order, because we have to see how many court orders. So this is the next court order that Natalie Haskins, and I want to make sure that you see her signature, so nobody say that I'm. So these both of them. So she stated that we can use the my wizard app. Then when I stated, I petitioned the court. I was like, the father is not communicating. Like, I'm wasting money.
Right.
Because when this child is sick, when anything going on with school, if you don't have to tell me anything, it took 1 year to tell me what school she was going to.
That's withholding information.
Right?
Why,
and this was a constant complaint throughout from 2019 to now. And even in one of her court order, look, this one next week, I can't even understand what she write here. Could you understand, even if I put it close, like the lines are all combobulated, they're just all in one, just like
they're all crunched together.
Like clustered together.
Yep.
Right? So, but this at the bottom line, I could barely reach, it said, if the father does not comply with the supervised visit and stuff like that, he would be at risk. At risk for what? This is the next order. She stated that because I complained about pain, she said we can use the free talking app, the free parent talking app. That's a next app that parents could communicate. This is in our order, right?
Mm-hmm.
He never followed it because that's not what she ordered. But that's her order. You see her signatures on it. So this is the order from 2025. So on top here, he did state that he didn't respond to me when I contact him on the Talking Parent app. He didn't contact me because he said he had the My Wizard app. But in this order, the father testified that since he didn't have time to maintain the My Wizard app, that's why he didn't have it, right?
Oh yeah, they never have time because they're working so hard.
However, it was court ordered though.
And nothing happens. This is why family court, it's got to be abolished. It has to be abolished. You cannot reform corruption.
So, but I see other cases, judges are so upset when people don't follow the court order, but not Natalie Haskins.
Right. Well, I mean, my judge wasn't upset that he didn't follow the court order either.
So this is another court order she wrote. I don't know. You can't understand nothing what they type here. Like, no. Absolutely nothing. I can't even tell you, even though I'm looking at it with or without my, I can't tell you what the hell they write. What she write there, right? But this is
at least she can spell part of her name.
And this is her signature. Yeah. Nothing. Right? So everything that he's not following, and I filed so many contempt orders, so many rules to show cause, which is $100 a piece. It's not free. But every time you're trying to get me to dismiss it, or you dismiss it, you ignore it, you slap him on his finger. Oh, she even tell the attorney, oh, he didn't do nothing wrong. Even with the counseling before you give my daughter sole custody. And from 2 months, she's a woman just like me. Before she's a judge. 2 months, a father went away. And you didn't see nothing wrong with it. You didn't have all the hula hoops that you put me through. For the 9 months that y'all run me out my house with all the police officer, gang stalking me and all this stuff, they take my life.
Right.
It was okay. He didn't have to go through all those hula hoops. My daughter was running across the Newcastle County Police. Nobody came out. My daughter was coming back with lumps and bumps in her head, cigarette burns, or part of a hair shave off, or eyebrow shave off.
Right.
Shave up, right?
Right.
Nothing was done.
Right. This is why I mentioned all your podcasts, because
nothing was done.
People to, go back and listen and hear this documentation.
Nothing was
you
done.
And I've done.
Right. They had a next council did the ECBI, the iceberg child's behavior inventory on my daughter. So I guess you had to reach a certain point. And I was like, why my daughter even going through some of these counseling? Because she didn't reach, right? She didn't have no behavior. The issue was going from one house to the next. She didn't know her father. She didn't know the father family.
How sad, yeah.
But that child holler, scream, kick, fight run on the chairs, run under the bed, run under the table, and everything was okay. Nobody helped her. So when say, well, Whittington's talking, but I don't know how to connect with my child, she didn't know the pain that I went through with my daughter. You know what is it to a mother to hearing at exchange the scream of your child? Oh, mama help me. Oh, nana help me. Mommy, I'm scared. My child coming back with smelly private parts, and I'm scared to go to the hospital because they're using it as a weapon against me. There's times that I sit at my window when all those cars was coming, and I tell my friend, I said, you know what? I said, I can fight them. I said, I don't know where they're going to come from in my house. I said, but my daughter, I sit at a window where I had 2 sheets that I make like a parachute kind of thing that I learned. And I said, anything, you know, my daughter is going to be, I'm going to put her to safety. I will deal with them if they come into this house. All of that I went through. They even had my telephone number on sex line. Women calling me, want sex with me, and all of this stupidness was going on. Then the judge ordered that because my friend was helping me, or my friend daughter was babysitting, that I had to give his number. So you had his friends and his family pretending to be realtors. They would call, do you want to sell her property? And then they would call me, do you want to sell his property? So they were abusing the numbers.
Yeah, people don't realize that there's other
they were
flying
abusing
monkeys
the
that
numbers.
come into
And
this.
then in recently, with all that I talk about the gang stalking and all the stupidness they're doing, you order that I must tell him everywhere I'm living. He already know where I'm living, but I already tell him anytime he come to Maryland, I am going to file court orders against them from not coming here. And if they think they're going to block me and all of that stuff they were doing before, I'm not playing with them. I'm going to defend myself. So I don't know why with all this situation, I don't even know why they either, I know they listen to this podcast. I don't even know why they even have Natalie Haskins as a judge on this case. Why she want to help me?
She's a tool. She's a tool because she's connected with that Sherry, what's that?
Darcy and all of them that is connected with him. Yes.
Because they all go to church together and pretend to be Christian.
She's the House representative and who else? Other politicians in Delaware that helping him. You don't have to follow no court orders. Don't have to. Absolutely not.
Oh, I'm so sorry we married the wrong people.
I regret meeting him. I regret meeting him and marrying him. But like I said, with breaking the bond, but let me tell you something with Dr. Zingaro. Even though they probably think he was in a circle, he held his standard with doing his job. I must give him that. I like how he did his job. He makes sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I like how he did his job. You understand?
Yeah.
So because this is one of the
few that does do their job.
Yes. So he made sure my daughter was the main focus, not us.
Right.
The main focus was my daughter. So what he did in his sessions, he would make us do like write 3 bullet points of what we want to talk about, so we wouldn't be all over the place. And that's what he made. Laura Brooks used some of these things to use as a defense against me because she didn't have nothing to write. She didn't want to mediate. She didn't want to do nothing. She was such a problem. Even if it was in mediation, she refused to mediate. She didn't want to mediate. She just want to go on with this thing because she was getting paid, right? And one of the things that he did stress on, the court should have my daughter set up with phone time with me. That's one of the things. So he made us set it up. And once that court case is done, it's done. Just like how this counseling that the judge ordered in April 25th of 2025, just as the case done, counseling done, all the scary and fearfulness, everything done.
So if Laura Brooks is refusing to mediate, that's a huge red flag for encouraging the child's psychological abuse.
Every mediation we had, she denied. She didn't want to mediate. She had a problem. That's why I said a lot of these attorneys, people feel, oh, why I don't pay an attorney? A lot of those attorneys that I pay failed me because if they had stood up to her, you understand? I paid them. It wasn't for free.
Right.
Say Whittington talking about counseling, right? They had a court order that Natalie Haskins wrote. So the court order was passed in December 19th of 2024, right? Saying that the child have to go counseling. Before that court order came out, my ex-husband already went and did counseling with Sable Whittington. She haven't seen my daughter. This is a pack of emails that I tried to contact Sable Whittington, right? When I did contact her, she said that she already finished the sessions with my daughter, and since the year before, whatever, right? Then she came back this year, 2025, and lied and said she was seeing my daughter from since 2023 to when. So I need Medicaid to go back and see all those times that she claimed from 2023 that she was seeing my daughter, but she told me she wasn't seeing her. This is how many times. And she said, oh, I apologize that we was having such a hard time connecting. You didn't tell that. 3 months before she even connected with me. Even lie. Like, my daughter was so comfortable with every single thing. These are like from the My Wizard app, because they print out like 460 pages of difficulties to see that he's not communicating with me. And the judge just ordered that if my daughter's sick, that he should tell me 24 hours before he could call me to the hospital. But if I go to the hospital, he need to notify the staff, right? You need to know. I'm gonna finish up just now, Maryann. You need to notify the staff. How many times she went? This Memorial weekend, you took her to the hospital because you want to go on a trip. Instead, you just asked me, like, my family have something for Memorial. Do you mind relinquishing this weekend and we make her back some other time or something like that? No. He took her to the hospital. He canceled my visits on the 18th, took her to the hospital on the 22nd. And there's the next thing. Near Morris, Rebecca Spartan, I think, he said he could take her to a doctor. When I looking at the report, was an RN named Rebecca Spartan. She wrote on the paper that my daughter have to be cleaned out on the days when I have to visit. So what about the 18th? Did you tell Tia Tucker that you went away? So these are the stuff. Tia Tucker want to write me up for a minute being late. Did you ask him for a sick note, a doctor's note? But the doctor already said that he should not be abusing the Miralax, and that's what he's doing. But you went away. We were playing a game. She said, Mommy, that's a sign of Delta Airline. We went on a plane. We went on a trip. She's 8. She's going to be 8. But you call the center and tell him that she's sick.
Oh.
Right? That's what he did. He called the center and keeps saying she's sick. And you went away to different states on court order visitation. So if something had happened while she was away in a different state on a court order visitation for 1 hour every Sunday, what do you would have told say for yourself? Good, but I guess Rebecca Spartan probably could answer, since she said that the child have to. Why not a doctor? And you said a doctor? She's RN. These nurses need to wake up. That's why one of the doctors at that hospital never liked him. So I had a next thing with counseling. These counseling stuff, we said that I wasn't participating. These are all stuff with counseling. All right.
Right.
Then even with the school, okay, I think I did show you with the mental health evaluation that she's saying that both parents, I did mine like twice. And for me to get my daughter, I have to do the evaluation, and I did it not once, but twice, and I still can't have my daughter. Right? Because of what you choose to do. No, and she keep blaming me for not following the rules and stuff like that. Even here, My Wizard app, okay. Then even with I did mention, because I think in the last podcast I didn't have this. This is when Patricia Weir, the Garda Malidum, came on board on the 18th of July, 2022. So after that, all the recommendations that she put in place after this case in 2022 went out the door when she left. Then Natalie Haskins tell her, oh, didn't the state hire you from 2022 to 2025? So you lie on court, the Garda Malidum. You very well know that for a whole year you was out to my daughter's life.
Oh, they all lie because they're third-party parasites.
Right? For a whole year. So, but even when my daughter is being going to the hospital and he refusing to communicate, I make sure that I connect with I CC the Garda Malidum and her counselor. So anything happens to that child, they're all going to be responsible, because she's still we in June. She's still going to the hospital back and forth. You have her walking around with this big bottle of water. They keep drinking water for whatever is going on with her, right? If she have to eat, if she keep drinking all that water, she's going to be filled. She wouldn't be able to eat. I hope I And even the next thing he's saying that she have her in all these different programs, or she's going to sign up for this program and that program and the other program, and she haven't been signed up for anything. My daughter was in swimming, she was in soccer shots, all that stuff. You haven't signed her up for anything. But Laura Brooks make you stand up in court and say, oh, she's going to be signed up for soccer shots. She's going to sign up. She's going to be 8 and she's not participating in anything.
Oh.
And next thing, I went to the visitation center because they're all in a loop. I have to. They're all in a loop.
Yep.
So with all these court orders, you taking me through all this before I go, taking me through all this loop. But yesterday, when it's time for me to get my visitation, you're asking the father, you think the mother deserves to have Christmas? He said no, because the daughter is scared and she's having nightmare. Then you ask the visitation center supervisor, should she have her daughter? She said no, because I disrespect her. She's disrespectful. So what you give, that's what you're going to get. And I don't say anything to her. Just one piece, just want to do my visit, that's it. Even one point, Tia Tucker from the visitation center was reporting to Laura Brooks that I was violating the center's rules, but you wasn't writing me up. She didn't write me up for anything, but you was sending emails to Laura Brooks. So why you think I would like you or want to be in your presence?
Right.
Even the supervisor not this weekend, last weekend, they have a new staff that was observing me and my daughter, but you write the report, not the person observing. In none of my career, the person who is observing a situation, that's who write the report.
Turning corners really now has turned my stomach.
The Family Child Inc. Center, but I am trying to hurry up, Maryann. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything here. So with the counseling, so the nothing that she stated for the father to do, and she said that I have poor communication. What do I have to do with counseling? What do I have to do with custody? Mm-hmm. I don't know how to communicate. Am I not communicating with you? Right? Even with the abuse situation, they just talk out their mouth. Don't have no proof. All the investigation they did, right? And I just want to give one quick scenario, and then we could wrap up from here.
Okay.
So twice, when I dropped my daughter off, because we used to do exchange at the Newcastle County precinct. So one time, and every time this situation always occurring before a court hearing. My daughter got behavior, something happened, or the mother did it. The first time when we went, I think in 2019, this happened. My daughter had welts all down her legs, both feet. Mm-hmm. Both feet. The attorney at the time said, don't say nothing. Just let Laura Brooks, because she didn't want to ask a set question. I wish if I did ignore him, I asked, because next thing you know, that he was filing for full custody because I abused my daughter, right? Nothing happened. He never take her to the police, never take her to the hospital. I did, to make sure everything was good. Next time, I drop her off again, just before a court case. He called me 2 hours after, because that was his favorite time. Every time something always happened 2 hours after I drop her off. The welts on her legs. Then the next time he said she had knots in her head, bumps in her, she was crying out for her ribs and all of this stuff. She said that I beat her. I told the police, I called Newcastle County Police. I said, I just dropped my daughter off for her visitation. She was perfectly fine. Yes, she was crying because she didn't want to go with the father, but nothing else extra. I said, could you go and check on my daughter? It was like, oh, it's his visitation time. They can't go and check. And then, I had to stay on that phone and insist, and I beg and plead them, go and check on my child, because this is becoming a pattern. 2 hours after me dropping her off, something happened. The ambulance showed up at his house and he refused to open the door. So then the ambulance driver, somehow, I guess they end up having a conversation with the father, the grandfather, who was alive at the time. He is going to call me to tell me, okay, it's the father visitation time and it's responsible people living at the house. Why am I concerned what is going on over there? The father just called me, told me my child have knots in her head, her ribs is hurting, and all of that stuff was going on with her. I just want a wellness check. What is going on with my child? Is she hurt or is she not hurt? I don't care. Is she hurt or is she not hurt? So he never, from then they had this police officer from Newcastle County showed up named St. Phillips. Natalie Haskins said she didn't want to hear nothing but a police officer report. This police officer name was never mentioned. Her name is St. Phillips. She called me. She said nothing was going on. He didn't even want to open the door to talk to nobody. But when the officer showed up, he opened the door.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that, then Natalie Haskins is going to turn and tell me yes. Even though the police said she was not abused, she said yes. So you as a judge, why you didn't call St. Phillips back from Newcastle County? Why she said my daughter was abused and she wasn't? All of this stuff. But these are the stuff that prevented me, that you accusing me of, don't have no proof of anything. You're saying I'm drugs, I'm crazy, and all these allegations, and I can't have my child. You know how many times too that I filed a motion? I think it was 1 or 2 times, and she denied the motions for me to even have phone calls. I have no contact with my daughter. Absolutely none. Other than when I see her on Sundays for an hour. So what reunification process is she talking about? I delay when you never put none. All you intended to do is to separate me from my child. And you even write in the report, I failed to realize that my child is getting big. She's 7 now and she's getting big and she have an independent mind of her own to make her own decisions. She cannot be controlled. And you write that my daughter, her brother helped her with her homework. When I was talking when she was crying this weekend, she said nobody helped her with her homework. And it's proven in her report cards. Mm-hmm. And even for the educator at the school to say that my daughter don't need help, she don't need to be in that position. At McCleary Elementary, she don't need to be in that position. My daughter need help with reading. She does.
I agree.
And her writing. But it's just crazy. But we can wrap up because I know you're not.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm just so glad you spoke out about this because a lot of parents going through this can identify with everything that you're saying.
Then even with with her dad, like I buy clothes. I don't use this in child support. All of these receipts, and I have tons. He was showing the stuff away, trying to like he building that wedge too. That your mom don't care about you, your mom hates you, and all of this stuff. Even when with a supervised visit. So was my daughter's birthday last year, and I said she told me what she wanted for his birthday because they don't do anything. Mm-hmm. So I said I was gonna get a food drop off for the lunch, mm-hmm. and I'm gonna take cupcakes and favors for all the stuff. This we went through like 2 weeks of going back and forth before it's approved. So the principal told me because all the legal things involved, drop it off at the front desk, which I did. So he told me that I wasn't going to see my daughter. So she came. She was like, Mommy, I wish if I could have seen you just to say, for you to tell me happy birthday and give me a hug and a kiss, to just say thank you for making my birthday come true. But, I respect that because of the circumstances. They said because that I break thing and I can't be involved in my daughter's education. I'm not allowed to tell my daughter Merry Christmas. She's not allowed to tell me Happy Mother's Day until she reached me at the center. She's not to say happy birthday. I can't tell her happy birthday. None of that. And my Wizard app that I'm paying the money for, all you have to do is turn on his computer and I can talk to my daughter. So you're not encouraging a bond like the state for you to do as a judge.
Yeah.
But you continuously breaking my relationship with my daughter.
And God is watching. Let me tell you.
Even I said, look, I mean, this is black and white. I had a whole bunch of clothes that I just gave her because the way they were dressing her, you understand? At the to send her at the center. This is my daughter's room, right? So I did all this to show them that she has somewhere comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
To stay. These are all her old toys, right? These are closets. I gave her a lot of the clothes. I had the shoes I just gave her. I still have a lot of stuff. This is her bed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? These are all her stuff.
I wish I had it that good.
Tablet, right? And these are some of her stuff. So it's not that I don't have nowhere for my daughter to stay. All of that I show them.
Right.
Right? And a homeless man get unsupervised visit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's in the Decker case.
Yep.
He was homeless, but he had unsupervised visit. But we can wrap up, Maryann.
Well, hey, if anyone wants to reach you, they can come through me at dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. And hey, Marineka, don't jump off, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Slam the Gavel's a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms. Again, on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Thank you, Marineka Bowman, for speaking out. You're helping a lot of parents by speaking out.
Yes. Thank you.